Yeah, and we're streaming. See, you and I. See, we're here live already.
So I wish you could see you and say hello and say something about you, learn a little bit about what you're doing. I suspect you're interested in this, in the interest that we share. You'd like to make this world a better place for our loved ones. That's what we're all about. And we've been working for quite a few years now, a number of people, 10 of us, 12 of us meet every week, every Sunday for a couple of hours, and we come up with some wonderful strategies. And that's exactly what we're going to take up and show you how to use these strategies that will change that will change your life. Would you like that? I think you probably would. And not only that, you'll be able to share it with your friends, with family. And everything is free, as we'll say when we actually get started. So we're just a couple minutes away. We think we've done as far as we can. We're still having a little technical difficulty because some of the Facebook uh, uh, program is we're probably not getting some people that would ordinarily come through Facebook, but I'm told that there's some kind of technical problem that we'll have to work out. But we can deal with that. We're here and we're gonna do some really good things.
Yeah, I have about 2:58 done. I think we give it another minute or so,
Yeah,
and then
we'll start at 3 and we'll have our recording, and that'll be good. You
Okay.
know, we know that, and Josephine has been dealing with a flood in her basement. You getting a little bit on top of that, Josephine?
Yes, I am, and I actually am waiting for my construction guys that are coming in to do another walkthrough. They're supposed to get here by 4 p.m. my time. Hopefully, they don't get here during the recording.
Okay, well, they just started the recording. I mean, rather, we've got another minute or so. We'd like to try to be prompt on time. And so I'm watching here.
Yeah, I have 2:59.
Yeah, so what is the show? It's a tick, 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 tick. The, the show, they have a clock on. And there's another clock that is of interest to me, by the way. I wonder if people know something about the doomsday clock. Are you familiar with the doomsday clock, Josephine?
I am. Aren't we like a minute to doomsday?
It's actually 90 seconds. They just move the hands
Yay,
up.
we have 30 seconds.
No, it's 100 seconds. I'm sorry, 100 seconds. These
Yeah.
are some people from the people who are world-class scientists, people who won Nobel Prizes, 15 members of the advisory board of the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists are Nobel Prize winners. And they've had this clock for, since I think 1954. And this is the most dangerous state that it's ever been on, 100 seconds. So that's what we're all about here. We're really about, we want to make our world a happy, loving place that we want for our loved ones. So I think we probably must be ready to start at this point.
I am. So let's begin. So welcome everybody. This is our Facebook call with our Facebook group. We are Don Pett and myself are here. Let me go ahead and introduce Don, who's our founder and board chairman. So Don Pett is 85 years young, and he's founder of the Educational Community, which is a not-for-profit organization and was founded in 2012. He's been married for 64 years with 7 grandchildren and 4.5 great-grandchildren. Notice he didn't say how many children he has. He went right to the grandchildren. That's what I want to do. Okay. During his training in psychiatry at Johns Hopkins and thereafter, his favorite mentor was Dr. Jerome Frank, a world-renowned expert on the cause of war and causes of peace. Don became committed to making our world a safer, loving home that we want and need for our loved ones. So he's had video endorsements from Jack Canfield, who helped him realize that this is the kind of training that we want if we want to make it a world that we all want to live in. Actually, Jack Canfield called Don the Al Gore of world peace. Now, that is such a great endorsement, Don. Let me stop there. I want to turn it over to you. You can go ahead and do your open, and then we'll get right into our mission. Go ahead, Don.
All right. Thank you, Josephine. Thank you for those kind words. Yes, Jerome Frank was my favorite mentor. He was a professor at Johns Hopkins when I did my psychiatry training. We had a relationship thereafter. And Jerome Frank, just for your information, is a giant in psychiatry. He wrote the first, I believe, the first book on groups therapy with a woman by the name of Florence Powdermaker. And then uh, he published this book, which was a classic book in psychiatry called Persuasion and Healing, in which he surveyed all the things that work for not only psychological healing but also religious healing. And he introduced something called, you've probably heard of the placebo effect, the importance of our belief system and how it constructs how we deal with life. So that was one classic book. And then later he did this book, which was a classic book, Sanity and Survival, where he surveyed all of the causes of war and all of the causes of peace. And that's how I got my interest in many ways in understanding something about what can we do about the state of the world today. And I'm pretty certain that you're here because you're interested about the state of the world. We're not in very good shape. And what we're going to do today is explain to you exactly what working together, our co-creative genius, as one of my other mentors, Barbara Mark Hubbard, said, how our co-creative genius can find solutions to the questions that we right now do not have the answer to. So that's part of the magic that we're going to discuss today. And what I want to do today, I'm going to give you some tools to work with that will teach Einstein's rather neglected solution to create a sustainable world peace and prevent the use of the dangers that we're facing today. So let me tell you a little bit about myself, and then we'll go on to some of the meat of the story. But I was raised basically by a teenager. My parents worked, and then they got into a lot of difficulty. They fought with one another. They came from my dad came from Russia. He had came from a very poor background, and they would argue by such things as that if my mom would peel a potato, he would get very upset and angry if he felt that she took too much of the meat of the potato off from the skin. It was kind of minor things like that, but they fought quite a bit, and then they had separations. They brought people back together again, and then I had the thought then that I was maybe the cause of their upset or their anxiety. My dad wanted me to be on his side, my mom on her side. I don't think it was as strong as that, but just as a child, it seemed that way. And that for a while I thought, well, I had this fantasy, well, maybe if I kill myself, I commit suicide, I could picture myself, these are the crazy ideas the kids have. I could see them in my grave, that they would be both looking over my grave and they would be saying, uh, oh, we're so sorry we try to get him in the middle and so on. We should pay him more attention, so on. Well, fortunately, as you know, I didn't commit suicide. But what I did do, I got very interested in saying, what can I do to help? And I started getting involved. I started reading books as a kid. And then I read books on psychology, and that's how I got interested. And then when I went to, and then what happened is that when I went to high school, I was a big guy. I was about 6'2" at the time. I've shrunk now since I'm 85, but I was a big guy, and they recruited me to play football. I was never a great football player, but at least at the end of the season, they gave me a little award. They said I was the unsung hero of the team, which I really liked. But then there was an event that changed my life entirely. And this is perhaps you've had a life-changing event. Most people have had one or more life-changing events. What happened to me is the coach of the football team, Otts Helm was his name, was also my counselor in high school. He called me into his office one day and he said, "What are you going to do when you finish high school?" And I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. But my dad, he has sells some things and he would like me to help him out. So Anselm said to me, well, look, he said, you really have to go to college. And I had never really hadn't thought about going to college, but he pretty much insisted. And no one in my family had even graduated high school. I had a brother that didn't graduate high school. My mom or dad didn't. So this was sort of out of my realm. But nevertheless, he said, you need to go to college. And no one in my family objected. So Helm wrote a very nice letter to Johns Hopkins. It was too late to take any exams, but I got admitted to Johns Hopkins. And from there, I went on to medical school. And then that's where I got into the training program at Johns Hopkins. And I got very passionate and interested in what can I do to make the world a better place. So that's part of my background. And then what happened is that in order to finish my training in psychiatry, I signed up with the government to give them 2 years of my military service. They sent me to the Federal Narcotics Hospital in Lexington, Kentucky, and there were like 2,000 inmates there. And it was a wonderful opportunity to learn. There were a lot of young people, and I ran groups regularly. And then what happened is that when I finished, I was recruited by the White House. I was recruited to be a consultant to what was called SEODAP, the Special Action Office of Alcohol and Drug Abuse to the White House. So this was under the Nixon administration. You see how old I am and how long ago that was. But I learned a lot about working with drug users, and I spent a good bit of my early life working in the addictions. And one of the things I learned working in the addictions is that we are addicted to a way of thinking that divides our world into two categories. We divide the world into my side and the wrong side. My side is always the right side, and yours is the wrong side. So you've probably had that experience yourself, that when you were born, you were probably given some words and taught how to divide the world into us and them. You were probably given a flag to salute and say that if you cross your heart and be prepared to die for your flag, that's what you should be doing. You probably were giving a religious symbol as well, which said there's a specific God that you're supposed to obey. And if you don't obey, you know that you can go to a very bad place for a long time. And it's rather mandatory that your God is the right God. But and if you have a different God, then it's the wrong God, and you will be punished. And then later you probably got a political symbol and said if you belong to the either conservative or liberal, you've got one or the other. So you see, we started off in life getting being controlled by others told us what we should be doing, and that's how we got caught up in our problem today. We divide our world into us and them, and you see that's what's going on in the world today, don't you? If you look at the news, you see what's going on the radio. There's always conflict going on. What's good, who's right, who's wrong, who's good, who's bad, instead of something that would make a difference and saying, how can we work together where we manage together? So what's happened with me is I want to tell you the story that changed my life too. I have a very happy, in many ways, things going on in my life. One of the things I've learned to do is to learn to love myself with the abundance that overflows to enrich others. I didn't always do that, and then most people don't love themselves. I hope you have had a better experience, but in my practice of psychiatry, meeting with lots of people, several thousands of people in my lifetime, doing a lot of group work. That's why I met with so many people. I've learned that most people do not really love themselves. When I say love themselves with the abundance that overflows to enrich others, most people are very critical of themselves. They put themselves down. They go ahead depending on other people's approval for love and approval. And of course, that makes you very much subject to what other people think, what other people say, instead of taking responsibility for ourselves. So I learned to love myself, and that's a very important skill. I learned to 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 be happy every day. I wasn't always happy, but I learned that when I get up in the morning, I can enjoy. I can decide whether I'm going to make myself happy or miserable today, and it's easy to choose to be happy actually. And I'm always having a very positive conversation. I enjoy each day with chronic enthusiasm. I hope you can do the same. But that's why we're here today. I want to share with you what I've learned with the opportunity to talk with thousands of people who've been willing to share their personal experience with me. And out of that came a good bit of wisdom. And that's part of what I'd like to share today. What I want to offer you today, it's part of my passion, is I hope that I'm going to give you a word, one word that's going to change your life, and one sentence that's going to change your life. Would you like that? That change your life, that would teach what we teach in our program here is the what we call the universal skills of help. HELP, happiness, enough, love, and peace. So that's one of the things we want to teach you, your superpower. What is the superpower that you have that enables you to assume responsibility for yourself so you're no longer dependent on others? The first years of your life, you didn't have any choice. Somebody changed your diaper. Somebody told you what to do. They said you can't walk in the street. You're not supposed to touch the hot oven. You're not supposed to wipe your nose on the curtains, right? All these are the shoulds that you learned, and you learned a language. That's when you learned your political words and your patriotic and your religious words. But you didn't ask for those. Those are what you developed. So what we're going to do is offer you some solutions to these. That's one of the things we've done. We've created what people don't know that they need to know. So this is what I want to cover today in the meeting. So let me now tell you one of the stories that changed my life. Actually, I used to have difficulty. I had this fantasy that came up to my mind. It was a thought that preoccupied me, and it kept me awake. As I said, I've been happy. We have enough money in my life. I'm 85. I have enough money to last me long. My family is wonderful. My 7 kids and my 3 kids and 7 grandkids and now 4.5 great grandkids. They're all doing great. They're doing wonderful. But I had trouble sleeping. And here's why I had trouble sleeping. I had this fantasy, and maybe you've had something similar. I had this picture of a bus that was stuck on a train track. And in that bus is my family, the people that I love. And I could hear in the distance clickety clack, clickety clack, clickety clack. There was a train. It was getting louder. Clickety clack, clickety clack. And my family was on that bus, stuck on the track. And I thought, what a horrible thing would happen. And if you give me the opportunity to think yourself, imagine your loved ones are on that bus. See, what I'm trying to tell you is the idea that your kids are also in danger, your loved ones. And we heard that track, that clickety clack and getting louder, and would get upset. It would keep me awake at night. And then one day I came up with a solution. I thought about it, and this is the solution. Would you like to hear the solution? I'm sure you would. I realized that if we could just change one switch, one switch on that train track, and instead direct it to a different direction. That's all it would take. The train, instead of coming straight ahead, it would go north or south just with one single switch. And then I began to say, that's pretty easy. So in my mind, I changed that in my fantasy. And now my family was safe and your kids are safe. But I learned something from that. I learned that I realized that was my fantasy, but then I began to realize the real world is like that. Do you ever have that experience that you'd like to do something to change the world from the way it is? I would bet there's some things that if you could, if you were, imagine if you were the ruler, you were the king, you had some special magic powers, what would you like to change in today's world? Are you really happy with it today? And I asked you that question. What would you really like to change? So the big 3 problems that I see, and maybe you have different ones, the big problems that I see are global warming. We see that in the news every day. It started off with our ancestors didn't have much global warming because they didn't use gasoline, they didn't do things that would block out the light and so on. But now global warming is such a big problem; it's getting bigger and bigger, and we can predict it's going to be. We can't survive if the if the planet heats up. The second major problem, the big 3, was pollution. I realized that we are polluting our waters. We're putting plastics there. We're polluting our land. I was told by an environmentalist that 90% of our population used to be farmers. They used to grow food, and now they're only about 5%. And we have people that are starving every day because there's not enough food, and there are other people that are throwing food away. So that's the second big three. And then there's a third thing that, of course, is going on. There are many wars going on every day. Someone estimated there are 40 or 50 wars, some small wars, some bigger wars, and some have been world wars. We've had two world wars, but these are the three big threes that any one of those three, if we were honest with ourselves, they're getting worse. They're not getting better. The wars that we used to fight were with sticks and stones and bows and arrows, but now we know that the next war, if it's fought with nuclear weapons, it will all be over in 15 minutes. Now, if somebody pushes the button, think about it. If there are 14,000 of these nuclear weapons in silos and submarines, and if somebody pushes the button, what do you think is going to happen? The experts tell us that in a very short time, these bombs, which are more powerful than the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bomb, the Russians set off a bomb that was 250 times more powerful than the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bomb some years ago. And most of the bombs today are that way. So of course, that's something we don't even want to think about because it's such a horrendous kind of thing. But maybe those are things, if you agree with me, that you'd like to change. But what about some other things that, I would identify that are related to that? And again, I'd be interested if you could share your list of what it is that you might like to change. So we have things like pollution. Now, I mentioned pollution. We have loneliness. People are lonely today. We have greed. People are very greedy today. People are easily getting, uh, there's starvation going on. There are quite a bit of shooters now, male shooters that we never had before. And of course, the addictions is getting worse. Suicide is increasing. All of these things we're seeing are getting worse rather than better. And today, what we want to address is what is it that we can do to change all that? And that's my promise to you today. We're going to give you some tips. We're going to give you some ideas, and we're going to encourage you. We'll show you what it is that you can do. Because I suspect that if you had your way, one of the things you would like to do would be doing something to make the world a better place to live in for your loved ones. I'm sure you have people that you care for that are probably more important than most other things, more important even than making money or some of the other issues that have to do with day-to-day things. But we were ready to sacrifice ourselves. If you have children, you've already committed yourself, haven't you? That becomes your number one priority, the number one priority of what you would do. So we're going to first introduce to you some wonderful new news. Could you stand some wonderful new news? I think you probably would like to hear because we have so much negative news. They say CNN is constant negative news, and that's what we listen to much of the time. So here I'm going to give you four areas of wonderful new news. See if you can agree with me. The first bit of wonderful new news is that we are realizing we are the ones who are creating our problems. I want you to think about it for a moment. You see, we create the dangers that we face. The root cause of these dangers is something that we do. So we mentioned global warming, we mentioned pollution, we mentioned wars. We create all of these things ourselves. We mentioned starvation because we don't make enough food. We don't farm all the food we need. We mentioned prejudice, poverty, kids starving, suicides, loneliness. The whole list of these things are things that we ourselves create. Now, why is that such wonderful news? That's wonderful news because if we're aware of it and we wake up, we realize if we create it, we are in the best position to change it. So that's the first bit of wonderful news. The second bit of wonderful news is that we now know what the root cause of all of these dangers is. Einstein told us that we create these problems because of the way we think. The way we think is that we divide our world into two categories: my tribe and the wrong tribe, my tribe and the bad tribe. As I mentioned earlier, we all have a, uh, a patriotic symbol, a flag that celebrates the national anthems of most of the countries celebrate their victories, their battles in war. So we begin to realize that all of these things we create, and we do that because the language our ancestors created is a tribal language. It divides us into tribes, my tribe and the other tribe, whether it's your the flag of your country or your God that you have. Most religions say that they say we preach universal love, but actually, if we look at history, most religions teach that if you don't belong to my religion, you're in trouble. You're going to be punished eternally in a hereafter. And even in we have tribes today that say if you don't believe in my God, you should have your head cut off. So that we have these kinds of issues here with that either or way of thinking. And Einstein said all we have to do is change that to a different way of thinking. And that was the third bit of wonderful news. If there's a single cause that brings about most of these dangers, and we can identify that single cause, then we can reverse and get rid of most all of these dangers. We may not do it immediately, but if we work together, then we can do that. So Einstein said that we have to change our way of thinking. Now, unfortunately, even though he said we can change all this by creating a newer way of thinking where people cooperate to bring their genius together to work together instead of compete by killing one another and getting involved in violent confrontations for limited resources. Instead, we can create more food, we can create more water, we can do different things if we work together instead of working against one another. So he essentially said, if we just change the way we think, that would change everything. So that's the third bit of good news. We have now not only the cause of the problem, we know what we can do, but Einstein, even though for the last 10 years of his life he advocated for world peace, he didn't tell us exactly how to do that. But that's what I'm here to tell you and share with you today. The group that we've been working with when our nonprofit foundation was formed 2012, we have a wonderful group of people and we've been studying and working together. And now I'm happy to share with you that we offer you the solutions that I don't think you'll find anywhere else, but they'll describe what it is that we can do to change what we're doing here. And that's something that where you come in, because if you learn these simple skills, and you can learn them very easily, if you learn these simple skills, you will be able to become one of the million member movement, the million members we need now to make a difference in this world. So this is what you're going to get, you see, when you come to our program. I've said, first of all, that everything is free. We guarantee this is not something we're giving you some information, and then later we're going to tell you if you really want the good stuff. That's what happened with most of the gurus. You get something good, and they're very, very brilliant and bright, but they basically say, when, once once we give you some of this stuff, then if you want the really good stuff, now you have to pay me a lot of money. We're not interested in fame. We're not interested in fortune. The group that we've been working with, we're interested in a better world. I think that's what you're interested in as world. We measure our wealth not by our bank accounts. I mean, that's if somebody said to you, what is your net worth? You probably, as most people would say, you think about how much money do I have in the bank? How many do I own? How many houses or cars or whatever? We add that up, we come up with a dollar figure and we say, that's my net worth. Well, that's not our idea of net worth. Our net worth is, and see if you agree with this. You could share your ideas. Our idea of net worth is what is it that we have to contribute to the greater whole? You know, we all have something to offer. all of us have something in the way of understanding, whether it's whatever we do, if we have something to offer, if we can direct that energy to the benefit of the greater whole rather than to our tribe. You see, the issue is it's not tribal love. Tribal love is the cause of the problems when we say what's good for my religion or my country or the people who have my skin color or the people who have my sex or my gender or the people who have my ethnic background. See, that's the kind of thinking that we've been learning from our language because we have so many of these either or words. But we're going to show you just a couple words that will change all of that. And it makes it very easy. And we'll show you one sentence that's going to change all that. So we're going to offer you Einstein's solution. You're going to learn your superpower. We're going to discuss that in just a moment. You're going to learn to love yourself with the abundance that overflows to enrich others. Was that something you'd like? We've said that the four skills that we think are universal, that we need to learn, go under the acronym of HELP. H for happiness. Is anybody against happiness? Do you know of anyone who, who would be opposed to happiness? Enough. H for enough. Enough physical. Uh, we need enough food. We need enough water. We need shelter. We don't need $1 billion. I mean, you can only wear so many clothes. You can only eat so much. But if you have enough, you're wealthy. Most people don't realize if they have enough, they have the basic things. The rest is the state of your mind. We know that people who get, once they have enough food and they have enough shelter, no matter how much money they make, they're just as likely to be depressed as somebody who doesn't have that amount of money. In my practice, for example, I saw 3 people who won the 7 figures in the lottery. That is, they won over $1 million. And they came to me as a psychiatrist because their life was miserable, more miserable after they won the money. One woman, she was a nice elderly woman who loved her family, but when she got this money, all her family started complaining that she didn't do enough for them, and they started fighting and squabbling, and she lost basically her family. Another person was a clerk in a store. He won all this money, and after that, he gave up his job and he started drinking alcohol. He became an alcoholic. So you see, sometimes it's just not. It's more than just physical things. The other part of the enough is our spiritual values. So when I say happiness, enough spiritual values. The third quality is love. You know what love is, but we've introduced something here now that's a little different. We've said that it is global or universal love. When you love the greater whole, it becomes important, not just yourself. And so what we most people practice tribal love, and this one sentence they practice is what's good for me and my family and my tribe for here and now, instead of a different sentence. And here's the one sentence that would make all the difference in the world if we could do this. What's good for my tribe and your tribe for now and the future? See, when you're saying what's good for me and my family and my tribe for now, you're saying let's do what feels good right now and forget about the other side. But when you listen to this one, I call it the magical sentence. What's good for my tribe and your tribe for now and the future? Listen to that sentence. Listen carefully. You notice there's no one who's right or wrong. There's no good or bad individual. It's simply saying, how can we use your energy and my creative energy to create what works for all of us so that we have a win-win situation rather than win-lose. So we want to
So
go
Don,
from.
I wanted to let me jump in for 1 second. This is a great setup. We have 2 guests with us today, Karen Wilder and Tara Sadius. Thank you guys for joining. I don't know if you guys have the chat open. I hope you guys are enjoying Don's message today. My name is Josephine Guevara, and I'm the director of the EC, the Educational Council community. So I'm here with Don, and we are going through some of the lessons that Don has been teaching us over the past few years. Love to get your input either through chat or please come off mute and let us know what you guys are thinking about it. Love to hear it. I just a brief interruption for you, Don. I didn't want you to stop. You were on a flow. I'll put the slides back up in a minute, but I wanted to also encourage our guests to share their genius with us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting our guests. Their guests are the most important part of our meeting, of course, because we look to our guests. We look to our guests because they're the individual who are the pioneers who want to change the world. And one person can't do it, but our guests who have family, they have friends, and so on. When they learn the skills that will make a difference, and they start to share them and what we have to offer, we're going to give them that information. But it's important that we hear what they have to say. And I certainly welcome Karen and Tara. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you being here. And we've had some technical difficulties. We know other people signed up, but we know that there are some people who just couldn't get on because of the technical difficulty. But Karen or Tara, would you like to share anything here? Question or comment? You can unmute yourself.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes,
Hello, Karen.
Hi. Yeah, I'm really interested in changing the world. I've had this feeling ever since I was a small child. There was a lot of things wrong with the world, including the way our schools were run. I wanted to be a principal and change the whole education system because I saw so many things in the schools that didn't seem like they were right when I was growing up. And I actually went to some pretty good schools, had great teachers, but yeah. And then I became a mother and I saw the pollution in the world. And I had moved from Saginaw, Michigan to Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is on the west coast of Lake Michigan. And I coached gymnastics and all these kids had asthma. And none of the kids at Gymnasters and Saginaw Gymnastics had asthma. I don't think I ever had one. And all these kids were having severe asthma. And one girl was so bad that, her mother said, you can die from an asthma attack. And I used to be horrified when I'd see this. And the reason is because Grand Rapids was collecting all the pollution from Chicago and Gary, Indiana. And then it was slamming up against the coast of Michigan, off of Lake Michigan there, and it was all getting trapped right around Grand Rapids, and they were having all these high pollution alert days and ozone days, and it was something I became aware of. So I went to college and got a degree in environmental science and just have a lot of interest in helping to heal this world. I think it could go in a very good positive direction if we all work together and raise our consciousness as a planetary human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that comment. Tara, would you like to comment or question or comment? You can unmute yourself. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
So I see you typing into the chat, Tara. Oh, she can't unmute. Isn't that weird?
Okay, but I do hear your message that you're overwhelmed. But you're not alone, obviously. Most people are overwhelmed. And that's part of the message here. One of the things that I've done, and just another little story, I've interviewed over 200 people, just short interviews of 5 minutes. And I asked them 3 questions. And the first question is, do you ever wish or pray for world peace? And that probably can already predict the answer to that question. No one told me they were against world peace. Everybody said they wish or pray, and some people say they wish and pray for world peace. The second question was, what do you do to bring about world peace? You wish for it, you pray for it. What do you do to bring it about? And I can tell you what most people said. You could probably guess. Most people scratch your head a little bit and say, I don't really think much about it. It's too big a problem. There's nothing I can do about it. It's kind of this hopeless, helpless attitude response. And some say, well, it's up to our president, it's up to God to take care of it. And some people do say some nice things. They say, I'm kind to people. I contribute money to third world countries. Those are wonderful things, but they're not going to bring about the change pollution, or they're not going to stop the next war or whatever. So we need to come up with something bigger than that. So the third question is a very easy question as well. Would you do something if you knew what you could do? And the eyebrows usually go up, and people say, of course I would do something. I would love to do something. I just don't know what to do. So here we realize, you see, if these 200 randomly interviewed people all would like to do something, is apparently Tara, you and Karen are representative of that group as well. And we have no product on the market. Nobody knows what to do. If we can come up with a product, we have the whole world waiting to make the world a better place. If people aren't against peace, they want happiness, they want love, they want peace. That's the issue. How do we go about doing it? So that's the next step. And that how do we go about doing? So this is what's going to happen, you see, in the program that we've created. We need to spread the word, and we've developed a new means of education, which we're calling the Genie Seminar. Now, if you know the story of Aladdin's lamp, you remember the story, Karen and Tara and Josephine? Remember the story that the lamp has a genie in it, imprisoned in it. And if you free the genie by rubbing the lamp, you're granted 3 wishes. And no longer the evil person who owns the lamp, but now you get 3 wishes. Now, the issue is if we free the genie in our lamp, we don't get only 3 wishes, we get unlimited wishes because the genie is able to solve problems and grant us wishes. We're really talking about what our ancestors called our cerebral cortex, the recent part of our new brain that is able to use abstract thinking and use imagination. But when we use the word cerebral cortex, it doesn't tell us anything. But when you use this new word, Genie Seminar, Genie organ, now you realize that if you free your genie, you're granted unlimited wishes if you learn how to solve problems and take responsibility to solve problems. So we do that by bringing people together in groups. So we've been approved by the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office for a new method of education, which we call the Genie Seminar. And if you're interested, we want to create a 1,000,000-member movement. Think about this, the way just 2 alcoholic men got together. They talked about meeting in groups that were free, and then it became the beginning of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now AA is available all over the world. There are millions of members in AA dealing with substance abuse because of these 2 men. So we are the low-hanging fruit. You see, we can make some change if we just put our energy together. So we have created this new method of education we call Genie Seminars, and we invite people to come and participate. And we'll put you in meetings with other people. You're going to invite your own friends and family, and we'll put you in a meeting of 8 or 10 or 12 people, which is very productive to share your genius and ideas together. We introduce you to a topic, and we've had a wonderful speaker, professional speaker, introduce a topic and a wisdom. So each time you meet, there's a new wisdom and a new way of learning something about what each of us can do working together. And if you can imagine, we create groups like this around the world. We've now created a network that can change things. One person can't change the world, but if we can start a new movement, a 1,000,000-member movement, and that's one of the things we can do. But we need your help. We need every person who is willing to come on and say, yes, I would like to do something that will make a difference. And then we introduce what we call the 7+2 formula. We have created some simple word changes that if you simply change this word, these a few words, it creates a newer way of thinking that Einstein told us we need to do. What will make the world better for your tribe and my tribe? So it starts with, this is a simple exercise. If you can do this, if you can just take the word either or, which is the way we're all taught to think. Remember I started earlier, my way is the right way, my skin color is the right way, my God is the right God, my flag is the best God, and we'll build a wall to keep you out if you don't belong to my particularly patriotic group or my country. That's where we spend most of our time disagreeing with one another and confrontation. But if you take either or and you substitute both in, is that a difficult thing? We realize that we can just change that one sentence from what's good for me and my family and my tribe for now to what's good for my tribe and your tribe for now and the future. Listen carefully to that sentence. There's no more blaming. There's no more shaming, no more guilt to be there. There's no more complaining. It simply says, you have creative energy. I have creative energy. You want happiness, don't you? I want happiness. You want, you want to have enough food. You want to have enough spiritual values. You don't want people running around killing one another because you don't agree with me. If people don't agree with one another, they get a gun and they shoot people, they kill people. That's new. We've never had a situation where kids are carrying machine guns now and going killing many people. So the world, you see, has changed. But until we change this way of thinking, to go from either or to both end, it's a very simple step. And if you change this one sentence, what's good for me and my family and my tribe for now, to what's good for my tribe and your tribe, it doesn't matter what religion or you are, or what skin color you have, or what flag or you tend to salute. That's all fine. But the real issue is we both want the same things. We both want to do what we each would need to do. Now, if you go to our website, you see, which is free, that's the website, www.peace.academy. And then you'll get the word changes, the simple word changes. And I've just given you one word change and one sentence change that will, just this one simple change will change your way of thinking. It will change your life. But there are a number of other word changes. And this is the kind of thing we can learn by working together and share our ideas, become part of your new family. And you see, this is an introduction. If you go to our website, which is, again, I've said guaranteed free. Most people like the word. By the way, most people like the four-letter word free. Do you like that four-letter word? I know there are other four-letter words, but most people like the four-letter word free. That everything we do is, again, not because we're interested in money. We're just like you are. We want a better world for our family. We don't want somebody to push a button and have them be erased in a matter of minutes, as happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. We don't want them to be starving. We don't want these kids to be starving, and so many are starving today. We don't have pollution, as I think it was Karen said, that as a teacher, all of a sudden you find that people are getting asthma because the air is so polluted now. These are all the things that we all want together, but if we can only learn these basic principles that I've just mentioned, that starts with, I'm going to ask you to do four things here, just four things. The first one is, whenever you can think of either or, substitute word both and. It will change your way of dealing with other people. And when you think of what's good for me and my family for here and now, just substitute that one simple sentence. What's good for your family and your tribe and my tribe, for me and you, not me or you, but for me and you to work together. That one sentence gets rid of all the confrontation, the violence, and so on. It just says, you and I can work together. There's a little poem that I'd like to just share with you. See if this makes sense to you. It's just a little ditty. There's so much good in the worst of us and so much bad in the best of us that it ill behooves any of us to criticize the rest of us.
Wait, what? What? Wait, just back up, Don. Can you just say that one again? I'm putting some stuff in chat. So I don't know if you guys are still seeing this stuff in chat. I'm taking notes on what you're saying.
It's worthwhile saying it again. By the way, in order to learning, we've been so long, for going back billions of years, like animals, learning to say what's good for my tribe. Think about it. What's good for my tribe, and if you're a wolf, it's okay to kill other species and so on. So it's a very simple little ditty. There's so much good in the worst of us. There's so much bad in the best of us. It ill behooves any of us to criticize the rest of us. So the
Ah,
Friday,
okay. Got it. All right. All right. All right. So we got to stop here. We got to stop here because I want to hear what Karen, Tara, and Debbie have to say about that. Karen thought it was profound, Don. I'm getting there, Karen. I'm catching up with Don. All right. Let's hear from you guys. What do you guys think about that, about what the message for today?
I can almost see the smoke coming out of your ears. I know you're thinking, but you know, one of the problems, a lot of us, we're so reluctant to speak up. We've been taught to be fearful that people are going to criticize us, we're going to say the wrong thing and so on. That's one of the things we teach in the program. You really have to, when you get to be an adult, the wonderful news is your superpower. You have the ability now to take responsibility for yourself, but it's very hard to do that. One of the skills we teach, here's another profound lesson for you. One of the things we teach is when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, what do you say to yourself, Tara or Debbie or Karen?
I'm a hot sketch. What do you say, Karen, Tara, and Debbie?
I need my coffee.
Love it.
Can I get up, pee, and get my coffee?
Okay, that's
I know
good.
I love me or I'd be long gone from this planet.
Okay.
Love it.
So where do you learn to say nice things about yourself? Most people say I'm too big, too fat. Why didn't they applaud for me? Why didn't my kids doing well? I got wrinkles and so on. Usually you're not saying negative things, but where do you go to learn that when you look in the mirror to show gratitude for all that you have? And where do you learn to be responsible for your own love? To say, I am such a hot sketch. I really love me, with enthusiasm, with meaning. Instead of, you know, usually when you feel guilty or put yourself down, you do it with a lot of meaning, with a lot of emotion. And that's one of the problems. You see, our emotions is tied up in this, all this nonsense we learned when we're younger about all this either or thinking that, you know, I must be wrong and somebody else is right, or I don't deserve to speak up and so on. But we are the ones, you're the ones who have the brilliance, you have the ability to, you've just said you want to change the world. And you can do it. You are the ones. We are the ones together. And that's why we want to create this new method of education, get you involved. We want to get you to come to the website. It's free. Listen to these recordings. It's that simple. They're only 8 or 10 minutes long. And when you see how powerful they are, each one, you start off with the first 3 recordings that teach you how to love what we say is the new version of the golden rule. Learn to love yourself with the abundance that overflows to enrich others. It's hard to give away what you don't own. You know, how can you give others love when you don't own it yourself? And you don't really feel that sense of getting up in the morning with chronic enthusiasm and saying, today I'm going to make this day a really great day for me. And I really love myself so much that I have a love creation factory. I bet you could probably tell me how people go about creating hate. You know, Hitler was very good at teaching kids. He started with kids and taught them how to hate others and said, if you don't have the right kind of blood, everybody else deserves to be dead. But you
Hey,
see,
Don, let's show one of the videos, which I'm putting the videos on the screen. Let's pick a short one. Karen's talks about the power of positive affirmations in mindfulness class at MSU. It's awesome. It's awesome. Mindfulness is so powerful. I mean, I'm at the website in the background. So let's pick one if you wanted to share a short one. Which one would you pick? If you can see.
I think we ought to start with a case study, maybe.
Is it short? Let's see. The bonus case study, this one here?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys get a flavor for what Don is talking about. I put the website in the chat. Before we end, I know we have a few more minutes, but before we end, we'll show a quick case study. Let's see how long this one is. And then we'll get to more. Oh, this one is 11 minutes, Don. This is a little too long for right now.
Okay. Well, you can, by the way, get this on our website. It's all free again. All you have to do is.
Absolutely. Wanted to give them a flavor for what we're talking about. So it's okay. Keep going. I'll get
How about Brad Shepard's 3-minute video?
Let me see. Well, let's hear their voices. Let's hear their voices. If you guys want to talk, I'll get a quick one if we can share a quick one in the background, maybe the minute video, but love to hear your guys' voices while I pull one up.
We have cartoons, we have animations, so on. There's so much there. If you go to the website, you won't believe all that you see, and it's all free. And not only is it free, it's public domain for you to share with others. And if you give people something that they like, they're going to want to be your friend. They want to do business with you, because not only is it free, but you can give it to others free. I want you to look on the screen here. These are books that I've written here. This one book is called 7 Word Switches to Happiness, Love, and Peace. 7 Word Switches, Happiness, Love, and Peace. This is another book, which is World Peace in 3 years or less or else. World Peace in 3 years or less or else. And this is a third book, The Short Course to Mental Wealth. It's only 100 pages. All of these books are free on the internet. You can buy them in the store for $10 or $15. We don't want you to do that. We want you to get them free. Not only can you get them free, but you give them to your friends free. As I said, we're not interested in money. We want to create a 1 million member movement of people who are concerned about the state of the world and want to make a difference. So you have that video now, Sharon, Josephine? By the way, Josephine's regular job is she's the engagement person for IBM. Her job is to keep over 300,000 people at IBM happy. And how'd you like that kind of job? The job to keep a huge number of people happy.
Well, there are 400,000. There used to be that many people. We just had a split of Kyndryl. We just split our company into 2. So I'm focusing on the marketing individuals right now for engagement.
When I looked on my phone, it said IBM had 400,000 employees. Now it says 350,000.
I'm letting you know, we just did a big split to Kyndryl. We have a whole new company called Kyndryl. But why are we talking about work? Let's
hear that. Let's get that.
Let's hear Brad's video. And sure.
And listen to his voice. He recently played off Broadway, even in shows where he played Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof, the lead role. You know he's got a wonderful speaking voice. So let's hear it.
Community, guaranteed forever free websites. You will learn to be happier, more loving, and make your life really significant beyond your imagination. We do this by solving the biggest puzzle. Why is it that we fill our world with fear, scarcity, hate, and war when we want and need help? The acronym for happiness, enough, love, and peace. Solving this puzzle will make our world the happy, loving, safe home we want for our children, additional loved ones, and humanity. Make today's dreams tomorrow's reality. Here's the deal. An exciting new method of lifelong education, Genie Seminars, will make you a source of the solution instead of a part of the problem. Enjoy camaraderie, fun, and share emotional support with others as you learn the wisdom of world-class thought leaders and co-create with others in virtual seminars to spread the 4 help ingredients: happiness, enough, love, peace. As you help yourself, you simultaneously help our planet. Genie Seminars are the fastest, easiest, most enjoyable, and effective call to action to proceed to succeed. Begin by learning the 2 most powerful, yet still relatively secret, love creation skills that teach the modern version of the golden rule: love myself with the abundance that overflows to enrich my loved ones and humanity. Then learn 7 word switches, i.e., simple word changes that free your creative thinking from instinct and tradition to become your own person. As your experience of help, happiness, enough, love, and peace grows, you'll want to pay a new way of thinking forward to family, friends, and contacts with a click on your computer. When they thank you, ask them to do what you did. Each Reach One, Teach Many teacher, that is you, can start a domino effect that will circle the world. A 1 million member movement of Einstein's World Peace Army is sufficient to teach the newer way of thinking to our 7+ billion world citizens. Are you ready to make a difference? Click www.peace.academy to get started. Begin by learning the 7+2 formula. Do you want to go deeper? Then click to enjoy Genie Seminars for lifelong education in the universal skills that make our world the happy, loving home we want and need. Enjoy 4 free books that update the story of us to identify our higher purpose. We are humane becomings in the process of elevating ourselves to higher levels of moral, spiritual fulfillment. I encourage you to go to www.peace.academy and start your lifelong education in the skills that matter. Welcome.
Thank you, Brad, for that. Brad joins our calls on Sunday morning as part of the larger Genie Seminar. So what a great guy. What a great guy. Don, we're at 3:57. Love to hear the voices of the ladies before we drop. Ask us anything that you'd like. Any questions? Any more information?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Debbie.
It's Debbie. The meetings that you do, are they in person?
No, they're all viral. I meant to say that. You do that at home on your computer. You can have your cup of coffee. And while you're on the meeting, you simply listen to the recording. And then you are invited to share your ideas along with other people. And everything is free. And we just ask that people who decide to come, they're committed to come. And you do this lifelong, as we get older, we sometimes lose our significant other, a partner, whatever.
Oh no, I lost my whole family during COVID, starting with my mom, Good Friday 2020. I can't talk about that.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Sorry.
One of the benefits of these meetings is that you create a new family. You get to know the people in your group. They become sometimes much closer to you than your own family. People, they like you, they want to help one another. They want to show love to one another. Becomes mutually supportive. And you can't beat the price.
Yeah.
Debbie, very, very, very sorry for your losses.
So if there's no further questions.
Oh, Karen, did you have something you wanted to say? It looks like she was coming off mute, Don. I think she.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Karen.
Hi. Oh, that kind of answered my question. I just wondered what we were connecting to out there, as far as people and through the website, how it all worked, I guess.
Well, you have Zoom, you just go to the link www.peace.academy. Everything is free. You'll see those things we put on the screen. You can start clicking. There's the equivalent of a 3-credit college course you can study at your own pace. And then if you like, we invite you to come to a group. Once we get enough people, we have to get enough people in order to start a group. Everybody has to be available at the same time. But we'll provide the group. We'll take care of the fees for everything. And then you will be assigned to come to this group once a week and meet with your new family. And you do it in the comfort of your own home. So that's,
you can join for right now. If you're part of our Facebook group, if you sign up to the Facebook group, there's information, or you can sign up at the website. There's information where you can join our Saturday group. Don has a call Saturday, 1:00 Eastern time through Good of the Whole. You can join us and participate with us until we start the smaller subgroups. There's a theme for that week. There are lessons for that week. There are exercises that you can go through. Of course, and then through the website, we have the click funnel. You can go through and take the 3-credit course. There's a lot of training, education, camaraderie, bonding, sharing of ideas, sharing of your genius of how to make this world a better place.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. You said Saturday, 1 p.m. EST, right?
Correct. And it's through Good of the Whole. If you're part of our Facebook group, we can get you added and you get on the distribution list, and you can join us every Saturday at 1 p.m.
Yeah, I think people are getting a notice now once they join the Facebook group, right?
Yes.
So every time there's a meeting, there'll be a topic and you're invited. And then eventually, once we get enough momentum, you see, we're starting now, we're just starting this. So we're looking to get enough people that we can start groups where we'll put people in where they'll meet regularly with their new family, and people could be from anywhere in the world. That with Zoom, You can be in another country, you could be another part of the United States, whatever, but you have 10 people who have similar ideas who are working with the same goal to make the world a better place. That's the way we can make change. You have to have momentum. That's why it's so hard. One person can't do anything, you know.
And it's the same Zoom link. If you guys have the Zoom link that you joined today is the Zoom link that we use at 1 p.m. Just feel free to log on and join us. But
That's
hopefully,
not true.
yeah,
Joseph,
hopefully you can sign up for the Facebook group as well.
There's a different Zoom link for the one. For the
Oh, there
sign-up.
is. I always log onto this one. It works, I guess, because I'm a host. It works for me. So my bad. Sorry about that.
No, you have to go to Good of the Whole or the Connection Field, and they have other programs. We're guests on their program, but there will be the link. If you just go to the Good of the Whole or the Connection Field, they should come up. You'll have a calendar, and we're listed on Saturday, and they'll give you the link to sign up. That everything is free. Plus, there are other programs that this program offers besides our program, but we're developing our own program as well. So you have two opportunities. So, so I just want to just very quickly summarize 4 things we suggest you do to change your life just from this one meeting. Number 1, whenever you can, substitute both and for either or. It changes your way of thinking dramatically. Instead of the sentence, what's good for me and my family and my side for here and now, the simple sentence, what's good for my tribe and your tribe for now and the future. That makes it for a peaceful relationship. We're not willing to kill or fight one another because you disagree. We're no longer interested in who's right or wrong. We're simply interested in how can we work together in a productive way. The third thing I'd like you to do is go to www.peace.academy. Scan over the different areas, listen to a couple of the recordings, and you'll get hooked. You know, you're going to get hooked on a new educational program that will make your life much better. And the fourth thing, we asked you to come join our Facebook group, which is also free, and find other people, like people who also want to change the world. We've got about 90 people signed up now, and we hope to grow very rapidly. But you will help if you come and spread the word. That's your contribution. If you can we want you to become an agent for world peace. If you're interested in world peace, now there's something you can do specifically. The first thing is learn to love yourself with the abundance that overflows to others. That's that simple. When you go to the peace.academy, listen to the 3 recordings that have to do with learning to love yourself. They're only about 10 minutes each, and it's free. You do it at your own home. And then when you find out how powerful they are, send them to your friends, your relatives. And when they say thank you, ask them to pass them on to their friends. See how rapidly we can create a movement here if we just do that? But we need your help. You know, we have people that have been working for a couple of years now, but now we've launched our program, and we're so happy to have you here because we know you want to do something yourself. We're looking for 1 million people like you, and we need your help to spread the word. So thank you. We really appreciate you. And
Hey, well, wait, before we end, does anybody have any questions? I put the calendar in there for the good of the whole. And you can see what's happening, not just for what we do, but for what the whole good of the whole organization does. There may be other things for you to join. I imagine that a lot of you have clicked on, our link to get information or have joined our Facebook group. So thank you for doing that and for joining us. You can reach out to Don and myself, through that connection, through that link that you've gotten. And we're here to answer any questions that you might have going forward. We will do this again in about a month. Hopefully you guys can join again, same time, 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. We'll be back, but every Saturday it's 1 o'clock at Good of the Whole. Any questions?
Thank you. We can find that right in the email for this, right in the Facebook.
Collect. Absolutely. Absolutely, Debbie.
All right. Thank you.
Lots of love to everybody.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. I'll be definitely joining. This is wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, Don.